Hi, welcome to Tampa Talk with Mary. Welcome to the show that only airs once a month. And happy 2021. We all are just going to creep very quietly, unannounced, just into the new year. I have absolutely no expectations. That includes survival. Literally just, I don't even expect to survive. I do not have a standard going into this new year. It's been wild, guys. Like, wow. It's been wild for me too, you know, like all these different life changes and, you know, having to pivot and, you know, but periods still happen. I guess to sort of recap, since the last time we had an episode, which was, you know, it was a minute, sorry, is that I stayed here in Los Angeles for the holidays and, you know, menstruated here. And, you know, that was what we all should have done. So that was fine, and then January rolled around and I got this most recent period, and I don't know what it was. Like, I get this thing now where my fertile window is bigger and then my period window is smaller now. So my period used to last 7 days and then my fertile window was 4 days. But now my period is 3 to 4 days and my fertile window is like over a week. Yikes. So I mean, you know, there's pros and cons of both. But with the most recent period, I had like really heavy days for the first 3 days, and then it was like, I'm done. And I was like, okay, that's weird. But then the next day showed up and I started spotting in my panties, and I was like, well, that's not cute. And the period was like, psych, what's up? I have another date. So I ruined those, and then I was like, okay, now it's done, because it sort of stopped like halfway through my workday, and I was like, okay, so like now it's done. And then the next day rolls around and bitch was like, psych, what's up? I'm back again. So then I ruined two pairs of underwear, and not only am I ruining a lot of my underwear with my period, but I keep losing them in my apartment laundry complex. Like, so when I go to do my laundry in our apartment, I come back with less underwear than I had. And I just started realizing I should check like the rubber space between like the door to the washer and like the washing drum. And I haven't been for, you know, like the past few washes, and my underwear just kept disappearing, and some other people might have my underwear now. Like, it might be in their clothes. I mean, good for them. They did make out good in comparison to me. They got great underwear, so good for them. But yeah, I hope that you all are doing well. I hope that the new year brings what you want it to, you know, and brings you solitude and financial stability. But it's been a stressful time, and Tampa Talk's a great outlet, and, you know, you as a listener are always welcome to, you know, email us your thoughts. We're here for you, you know. We do lots here on Tampa Talk. We've got lots of people in our community, and I love that, you know, it's, you know, everybody from all the different backgrounds comes and they get to be a part of it, and it's phenomenal. Speaking of, my guest on this episode, I say this every time, but I am excited. I am excited for our guest. She's been on the podcast before, my darling, my love, Jimena. She is an actress that is currently living in Mexico. She will tell us a little bit more about herself, obviously. She's been on the podcast before. Y'all might remember some of my quote-unquote actor family, like the actor friends I made in college, you know, came on the podcast. She was one of them. So a lot of us are working, which is really cool. Some of us are in LA, like I'm in LA. She's working in Mexico currently. She's in a show in Mexico. We've got some other girlfriends that are still in LA, a couple people that left California but are like working in other states, and it's cool. It's really remarkable what's happened within the span of God, well, now 2 years, holy crap. Time flies, but Jimena and I are very close friends. I adore her. I think the world of her. She is in my wedding. So I hope you enjoy this interview. It literally, like, we tried to record this one time, and we were like, let's just hang out. we just hung out and talked instead, and then we actually sat down and recorded it and then hung out. But she's a delight. And I'm so happy that she gets to be on the podcast. She's going to tell us a little bit about some of her acting background, all the stuff that she's been up to, the amazing stuff that she's gotten into. Very cool. Actor buzzwords coming your way. And just, more about her projects that she's doing. During COVID, this has been a really hard time for performers. Anything that's live is like the last thing to come back, and that just across the board. So she's been really keeping herself busy, and that's exciting. And we get into a lot. In the description of this episode, you will find all of her social medias and everything like that. And she also teaches acting, and she's very qualified. I can attest to this. So if you're interested, all that info is in the description below. Also, what a better way to start the new year than being PMS free? Check in the description of this episode. You can get Jubilance now. I do believe, follow the link, you can get 10% off. There's also some other discounts on there if you wanted to try it first before you decide to do a subscription, but it is cheaper to do a subscription. I enjoy Jubilance. I love using it every day. All these problems that I have with my period, PMS is now not one of them. So I highly recommend it. The product is vegan, it's gluten-free, it's naturally made, and it's, for me it's local, but it's made in San Diego, California, and everyone at Jubilance rocks. They rock. So highly recommend it. Check the description as well for that. Without further ado, I have talked for a very long time. Let's get into the episode.
This is always the weird part, and is always bringing the third party into the room of like who the audience. But I'm so excited to have you on, Jimena. Welcome back to the podcast. You have been on the pod before. Yeah, I'm so excited for you to be here. I would love if you could just kind of give everybody a little bit of an introduction on yourself. Maybe what you've been up to since the last time you've been on Tampon Talk.
Oh my God, a lot of things happened. A lot. Yeah. Okay, so I'll start. My name is Jimena Baños. I am, so we need to say my age? Just kidding. I'm 25 now. I feel like an old lady.
What?
I don't like 25. Anyway, it's okay. We can talk about them.
There's no visual aspect of this podcast, but Jimena visibly looks like 16. Like she is, I don't know what this oh my God, I'm 25 thing that's happening from you, girl. Like you literally look so young.
I mean, it has its advantages and disadvantages for sure. Yeah. But I look like a fruit child, yes. I do. And I was born and raised in Guadalajara, Mexico, my whole life. And then decided to take a big adventure and did college in JP Catholic with Mary. Met her in the acting fam, had a lot of fun, growth, amazing plays, everything. Last time all of us were together, so that was beautiful. I was trying to remember. It was so fun. I love that. If you haven't listened to the episode, I invite you guys to listen to it because it's really fun.
You definitely should.
Yeah, it's so good. Graduated. Things didn't turn out the way as I planned. So here I am back in Mexico. Honestly, I've been telling Mary that it's been a huge gift to be in Mexico right now with my family because I know myself and I know support is everything to me. So I'm really happy that I'm with my family and have their support, company, everything. So yeah, I'm back here. Finally got to do some professional acting in a play. We're trying to come to live. I don't know how it's gonna come out, but because of pandemic, but it's been fun. Just having a yes after multiple no's has been really changing. Yeah, like it's been really good. And yeah, so like I did before some teaching also. I directed play, worked with kids mostly, like little girls. So it was really fun. It was a part of me that I knew was there, but I didn't know that I would be so fulfilled by it. So that was super fun. And also, honestly, little girls are really fun. They give you their heart really easily. I mean, we're really complicated too, but it was just like an amazing process. And yeah, so I did that before the pandemic. Pandemic happened, lots of no's, and then this play. So it's okay, in a couple of words. That was what happened with this. Oh, and did a summer conservatory online. So that was great.
Oh yeah, the little thing you did.
The little thing we did. No, that was amazing too. Open a door that hopefully stays open until I can join Mary in LA maybe someday. That would be, hopefully that happens. I'm so excited.
And yeah, guys, this little thing that she did was for the Stella Adler Conservatory. So if you are in your up in Schnuff, if you're an actor, Stella Adler is one of the biggest acting teachers among acting theory. So it's a very big deal that she got into this conservatory and got to study under the teachers at this conservatory. Very big deal. So we are very happy for her. I can't believe we just downplayed that very cool accomplishment.
I didn't forget. I'm sorry. I was just like, because I tend to talk a lot, so I was like, keep it short. And then I was like, well, I didn't say anything about conservatories.
Keep it short, hun. It's a podcast. That's all we do is talk. Yeah, as much as you want.
Yeah. No, honestly, it was amazing. For acting people, I know that for general public, I might be speaking in another language, literally, when we're talking about techniques and actors. But no, honestly, Stella was a huge surprise because, like, as Mary knows, we were training Meisner, which is great, and I loved it. But I didn't know anything about Stella. Honestly, I joined, like, kind of, not like blindfolded, but a little bit like more into the adventure of like what I'm getting to. And I was really surprised, like, how well it fitted with who I am as a person and like as an artist and my talents too. So yeah, highly recommend. And that's the cool thing about acting. I mean, it's not like straightforward engineering. There's just like one way to do it, which I love it. It's just like it's really open to the person. So like you can really, it might work for one person, it might not work. So I really like that about acting, that you can just keep growing and growing and like finding yourself. So that was such a great, so it was different though. Like it was online, so it was like kind of disappointing because, like, for example, like my classmates, it's just so insane to think that I never met them. Like honestly, I met them like virtually, so it's just like I don't know them, like how they look in real life and stuff. But honestly, now I think about it, it's just like I climbed like the highest mountain of difficulty in acting, because like Zoom and like bad Wi-Fi would get always like I would literally I would be in my monologue, like in like the power could gone off like anytime. It was like literally my monologue, and I was like why? Or like you were in the middle of the scene and then somebody's Wi-Fi stops working. It's just like how but honestly, like after I climbed that, I'm like more confident about going into a real scene and be like, oh, like it was hard virtually, but now I can't wait to do it like physically,
You've literally done like the impossible. And let listeners, let the record show. I was a bad friend here when she was like, hey, I'm thinking about taking class. I was like, don't do it. Like classes are scams. Like, don't do it. And she's like, well, I'm gonna do it anyway. And then did it. And I'm so glad she didn't listen to me.
Oh, thank you. No, but I mean, you made a really good point though, because I did the summer conservatory, which is not a lot of time. It's just like a month and a half. And honestly, like I admire people who are in acting schools right now, and like they have to do this like all the time, because for me honestly it was enough time to do it virtually, and I was like, I'm ready, like next time I'm gonna wait until, you know, it's physically, like, or mostly physically, because maybe it's not 100% still, but yeah, like it was surprising though, like I was trying to knock, I opened a door which I didn't expect to open. So that was,
and a good one. I'm
yeah,
so
good
glad
one.
you did it.
Totally. Yeah. So yeah, and like I it's funny because like, you know, it's different from the university we went, but at the end of the day, what I like about the approach too is like superhuman. So like anything that I, you know, any acting school that I see on their website or philosophy that has to do something with you growing as a person, and maybe not being the next Meryl Streep, or like being famous, but being focused on you as an artist. That was a super good sign for me. I was like, oh, this is what I want. It's just, they care about you as a person. They care about you as an artist. So that was like a huge sign for me. I was like, this is what I want, and this is what I've been working. So that is, you know, I think it takes time to really find the doors that you want to open, because I think we talked about this, like how sometimes we want a door to open, but at the end of the day we realize that door wasn't good for us either, you know, maybe we weren't good fit for them, but also it wasn't good fit for us. So I think it's really cool in this whole like discovering process to find doors that are actually good for you too. So yeah, it was really good.
And I think that's good advice too for like maybe listeners that are looking for classes, like finding those buzzwords, because I still do think a lot of times, at least in LA, that some classes are scams, because they say that, where they say like you'll be famous like so and so, and like blah 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 blah, and it's like you don't know what the person is, you don't know what the acting theory is, like you don't know what they're trying to do for you, they just promise fame. And I think that there's still like a lot of those, but I'm glad that you had mentioned that, because I think that that's maybe the defining difference between a good class and a bad one, is what they're trying to do for you at the end of the day.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's funny because like whenever you decide to enroll in a class like that you feel it goes with you, you can see that in the people around you. I mean, here it was virtually, but there was actually 2 groups, but we had like a kind of like a Zoom open like room for us just to talk and get to know each other. Like something that really stood out for me was an actress too from Mexico, but she was in Mexico City. And she was just saying how if you want to be famous, like the acting road is the hardest one you can pick. Like if you want to be famous, just do TikToks, like get on those platforms, because that would be easier for you to be like famous, because like acting is such a hard craft in every single way that, you know, like at the end of the day, most of us actors like are not famous, but we're always looking to have that, you know, being satisfied with what we do and get to make a living of what we love. I think that's our biggest goal. So it was like really, it was super amazing to even virtually find those kind of people and be like, oh wow, like we think the same way. It's just, we really love the craft because of the craft, not whatever comes with it. It's actually kind of hard to actually get there, but it was just, it was really amazing to get to know those people as well. So
yeah. And this is totally side tangent, but because now I'm on TikTok and now I see the acting challenges on TikTok, and they make me so angry. I just like unbelievably mad, where someone pre-records their responses to someone's like other side of the conversation. And I was like, by definition, this is not acting.
Just so you guys know.
It makes me so mad. It's like, how do you know how that person's gonna respond? How do you know? You don't do this in real life. You don't pre-record a conversation you have with a friend.
No.
Why would you do it?
No. No, that would be, oh my goodness, no. Honestly, it's really funny because I think with TikTok, like my millennial part comes out. Like, honestly, like I know TikTok is more like Gen Z generation. So like I feel like an old lady whenever I'm talking about TikTok. So like even I'm like, how? I can't understand this culture of TikTok. So yeah, I totally get you. Those challenges would be like so, I don't know, it's so foreign to me. It's
and
so weird.
I think the only thing that makes them worthwhile is when like someone who does comedy comes on and records terrible responses to someone's like acting challenge.
Yes.
but just let the record show, not what it is. I'm not gonna be like tell you what acting is for you or anything, but it certainly is not that.
It certainly is not that, for sure. No. No. Yeah, and it's funny because I've been thinking about like, you know, how hard is and harder for us actors now with this world, this new like generations coming up, because literally we have like attention span of like 5 seconds. So like it's just hard to translate acting into that because you can, you know, like if you want to do a good monologue, I mean, it doesn't have to be like 7 minutes long. Like I tried, because I have my Instagram acting account where I do whatever I want. And I tried to write a monologue. And honestly, to say everything that I wanted, it was like 2.5 minutes or maybe 3. And I know that standard TikTok, Instagram, that's a lot of time because people are not invested in listening to you. And I don't care, honestly. Like I said, I'm not doing for the views or anything. It's more for me and like for people that care about my craft. But it's so challenging because I was like, how can I create my work when the audience is not going to be open to listen? Because I just want something quick and like scroll. So for sure that's, I mean, of course, like anything has its good parts and like, you know, sides that can help you. But I think that's is a downfall of our generations and the next one, that we don't care a lot about content. So for sure.
I totally agree. And because I think it does have the pros too. But to find to take on like fulfilling content. And it comes down to like, you know, that the whole subjective argument of like high art or whatever, and you know, everybody's gonna be different. But I'm with you in that it's hard to kind of capture what theater is, but there's still this part that keeps theater alive. There's these people that have like kept this age-old art alive. So I like put my hope in them. I don't think like, you know, it's disappearing.
No, for sure.
But yeah. But the next part of the show is that last time you were on the podcast, you shared a tampon terror story where you were talking about like elementary school and being around other girls and stuff. I wanted to see if you had like another tampon terror story, or you like expand on that one. Any embarrassing period stories that have happened to you as of late that you wanted to share with everybody listening.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. It's just funny because like I had a lot, but at the same time, like my brain, I know a lot of times like blocked everything.
It's traumatic,
but embarrassing. Okay, I talked about elementary school and everything and just the whole fun of it. Man, honestly, now that you say tampon,
tampon.
Yeah, no, you mentioned tampons. It's funny because for me, honestly, I think every woman is different. But, you know, I know that you guys in the US have more of the tampon culture of like using tampons. But I think here in Mexico, we're still a lot about pads. And of course, like the cup now is more popular. So I always rather pads because I feel more comfortable. Like my first tampon history was terrifying and kind of like, oh my goodness, like honestly God really taking care of me because I was so dumb. Because okay, we went to the beach and I had my period, right? So like it was like this whole like family vacation plan. And it was wrong because I had my period and I was like, I'm not gonna miss the beach and the pool because I'm having my period. So like my mom was like, well yeah, I'll just buy you some tampons and like, you can use them and like go to whatever. I remember those times. I was literally in the bathroom for like an hour and I was like, I don't know how this works. It was just like, so stressful. And like my mom tried to like teach me everything and I was like, I can't. This is too weird. It was just like awful. I'm not gonna say a lot of details. But I just, at the end of the day, how like it has the plastic thing that it comes out. Yeah, like I'm telling you, like God really taking care of me because I didn't know that you had to take that out, and like I left it there. So it's just like honestly it was just like so painful and I didn't know, and then I was realized and I know how like dangerous that is. So yeah, it was just awful. And at the end, after that I learned how to do it. But honestly, for me, I just use tampons whenever I go to the beach or like I'm having a period or something like that, like something really specific. Because at the end of the day, I'm just like, no, like I don't want to go through that pain again. It was like kind of traumatizing for me. So like, no, I'm staying with pads. So probably that is my tampon. Maybe it's not embarrassing, but it's like a horror story for me.
For sure. Yeah. I definitely did that too. So don't even worry. I think I did it twice actually.
Oh god.
I didn't learn the first time, So it's many women have done that to not even fret.
Yeah. No, I know. It's like so hard. Like honestly, like I remember staring at the instructions for like half an hour of the hour. I was like, okay, let me read this like carefully, like each step. I don't want to. And at the end,
this is your body, like, I know,
but I was like, this is too weird. But yeah, it's just one of the times I was like, no, like only in special occasions, please. So yeah.
Oh God. I was just thinking back because this kind of segues us into our next topic, but I was thinking about like how long we've known each other and that last episode that we did and like how like in our college it was we had this like intervisitation rule thing. I could say it now because we're not in school anymore, but where like girls stayed in some houses and guys stayed in other houses and like they can't come into each other's houses, but there's 2 guys in our actor family, so we needed to record this episode and it was like after a class or something, and like I think we snuck these guys into my house and like just and to record this. So like we were super careful about like running the sync because it'd be very obvious that we were in a house and like in case anyone, but no one from our school would have listened to the podcast. But I remember us being so cautious about that and like just think about how long we've like known each other and like now we're both working in the industry. Especially you more so than me now, like you're literally like in a show.
You too have done a lot, honestly. So don't tell me that, Mary. different part, but we have been working for sure.
We are working
slowly.
But I wanted to see if you wanted to sort of share with us, you kind of touched on it already, but sort of what you've been like, talk to us about your account and like how you are keeping with your craft and how COVID is affecting your work. Kind of give us a little picture into that.
Yeah, it's funny because like it's been like a like anyone, it's been like a crazy ride with lots ups and downs. I'm just gonna say this at the beginning. Honestly, COVID has brought a lot of pain to us and stuff. But it's funny because I talked to this with Mary about this, how like COVID like really made me realize what I wanted and I needed to fight for it harder because like it's no secret, not surprise that I wanted to stay in the US and I couldn't because of my visa and stuff. So whenever I came back to Mexico, honestly, I was having like a huge tantrum that I didn't want to try out for acting if it was in the US. So like for a long time, and it was so sad because like I know it was hurting me too as a person to forget about my dream and like what I always wanted. So I was still teaching, but honestly, I wasn't growing a lot I mean, in a sense, I was growing because I was teaching and passing on what it was given to me. But as an artist, I didn't feel challenged. And until COVID hit, I was like, man, like when I was, when all the distractions, because I was working, babysitting, other stuff. So I was like constantly like somewhere else, and not it was in my house, but it was literally me, my house, my room. I was like, wow, like this is what I always wanted. Like, what happened, Jimena? Like, when did you stop fighting for what you wanted? Like, why did you give up in the first no? So like I said, the first thing that I was talking to my family about it, especially my mom, just like sharing ideas, like how I was feeling. And she was like, no, like, why you don't open your account? Like, do something, create something now that you can, like, work or anything, anyone projects or anyone. So, like, I started my Instagram account, which is, for me, it was easier to start with Instagram because I know YouTube has, like, more, it's not like you have to have more production, but it's kind of like the media, like, maybe, record with the camera and edit stuff, which, like, honestly, now that I'm like more into it, I will do it at some point. But in that moment, I just needed something quick and like something that, like a media or anything that I could just put out things that were in my mind. So it's funny because I know that people, if you might see your account, like, it's like, what the heck? It's like all over the place. But I don't care, honestly, because it's been like a process for me to know like what I want and like how I've been growing and like what has been in my heart lately. And honestly, just put it out there, which is really hard at the beginning because I was really self-conscious and like, I didn't want it, but now it's just like, I'm just gonna do it, like, who cares? They have 2 views, like 1 like, it's just, the reality of our craft. And I have talked to this with my family, like with with Mary, anyone who's my support system, in the craft, is specifically like how many no's you get. And honestly, like, it frustrates you to the ground. So I was to a point, I was like, why, like, why I can't do acting? And everyone just keeps telling me no, and I want to do it. So that was when I was like, I need to create my own work. Like, it might not be like Academy Award worthy or anything, but I just need to be motivated and be like happy, like fulfilled. So that's why I started creating my work, in that sense. And then honestly, like, it's funny because I was just like thinking one day about like my childhood, right? Because since I was little, I always wanted to be an actress. Like, for as long as I remember, that was my passion. It was always within me. And it to a point because I'm the oldest, I'm oldest of all of my extended family too. I have only 1 sister. So in my mom's side, there's 2 more cousins and me. And literally, we would wake up like at 8:30, and I would be the director, like everything, the screenwriter, so I would put on plays, but I would produce them, and like it would be like our biggest version would be Disney Channel, so it would be like High School Musical but our version, and then like Hannah Montana but our version, and we had like the craziest ideas, and I was always there, like pushing and like being the director of the idea. So that came into my mind. I was like, whoa, that's right. Like, when I was little, I did not only wish to be an actress, but I also wanted to create something. Like, it wasn't like I was like, there's something within me that can, even though I'm not an excellent writer or anything, there's something within me that I can create my own work. So it was like a huge, like our acting teacher, Eski, used to say, aha moment, which I love because you're literally like, aha, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a process. And then, like I said, I opened myself to the possibility of the summer conservatory and really doing it. And honestly, it didn't turn out the way that I planned it, because my dad was, I was really nervous about Wi-Fi, because we live kind of far away from the city, so we had always problems. Like we had always problems with technology in general. So I talked to my dad about it. I was like, okay, we need to upgrade our Wi-Fi thing. And he was like, yeah, no worries. He paid more. And literally, like the whole month of the summer conservatory, our Wi-Fi crashed. It was so awful. I couldn't see them. And I remember having breakdowns and be like, I'm spending a lot of money, because I honestly, I saved it. And I was just praying about it. I was just thinking, I was like, is this really worth it? Because I cannot see them. And I tried to, we had my dad helped me to, join Zoom through the phone and stuff like that. But I remember having a talk with the register, and I was like, okay, this is my situation, and I don't know if I'm gonna drop out, because my Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And then he was just trying to, we're trying to come up with solutions. And, at the end of the day, I was like, okay, my grandma has good Wi-Fi. And for, during that time, we hadn't seen her in 5 months because of a pandemic. But, talking with my family, I was like, no, you're fine. You're not seeing anyone. You're not, it's not risky for you. But honestly, like I said, you never know how things are going to turn out. But apparently, because I fought for it, and I was creative to have my, I wasn't like, okay, I'm giving up. Let's just drop out of this. That actually put a really good image of me to the studio. And I never thought about that, because he, the register was like, out of all of the students, you really stood out because you never gave up. You had all the, everything was against you. You could, you had all the difficulties that you have, I don't know, that you couldn't even think of, right? Wi-Fi is such a huge thing. And he was like, honestly, out of everyone here, you really stood out to us as a, studio, because you fought for it. You fought for what you wanted. You didn't give up. You were creative. And for me, that was wow, I never expected the thing like that would tell them so much. So honestly, I think that because of it, it was easier to me to get into, I haven't decided if I'm going or not, but I got into their professional conservatory. And I know they're huge parts because they knew me kind of,
Yeah.
So that was huge too, a huge breakthrough. And what are we talking about me being in play right now, which has been unexpected too, in the sense of how torn I am, because I want to be there. I want to be in rehearsals. I want to be in the process, but I don't know. They're not doing it online. So for me, I'm just really torn between taking care of my family and being there for what I love.
Yeah.
So right now I chose to just wait and work on my own as much as I can. But yeah, for sure, it's been really, it's been awful, honestly, because I wish, anyone in this world, I wish I could just, see people without being scared of getting sick all the time. Yeah. So I think it's taken a lot of me, and I didn't expect that in that sense too. So yeah.
Yeah. But and you work so hard, and I think before COVID, going on sets and running into people, is that the majority of people who are working here expect opportunities. They are they are I deserve opportunities, which sure you do, but they're not handed to you. You have to work for it. So when someone's actually working and going through all the difficulties and putting in the time and the effort to get something, it's far more noticeable, because so many people just are oh well, I'm here, so I am expecting and deserving of this thing. So it doesn't surprise me that you stood out, because I think a majority of people who are doing this, and when it gets too hard, they leave.
Yeah.
And sort of on a similar vein is that you're not only running into, because we were talking about rejection, is that like running into the challenges of the pandemic, but you're running into the challenges of stigma, and like how that even makes, you know, no's hurt a little bit more. But we were sort of like in talking about those challenges of finding no's, but we had talked about like, you know, they're missing out, you know, because you're not, you know, they're missing out on a great actress, and, you know, maybe it's not the right fit for you either. But what are some, you also touched on them too, but what are some like rewarding aspects that you've been able to find in the pandemic, in fighting stigmas, in, you know, keeping at this very difficult industry? Like you said, you mentioned your account is like a rewarding aspect. What are some other rewarding things that you've sort of found along the way?
Well, I think that mostly, I mean, a lot of things, honestly. It's just been like and I think everyone can agree, a lot of people, like, honestly, I'm not the same. And yeah, thank God I'm not the same person that graduated. I'm not the same girl who graduated and had all of this expectation. So I think all of this hard road has been like a huge learning experience for me. And it's just been like rewarding, like you said, and like a lot of different things that I didn't expect. But honestly, I mean, I can go on forever what I've learned, but mostly in the couple like last few days for me, just really finding out what Jimena can give to the world, humanity, through my craft, and just me. Because I think, as you know, as any profession, you can be tempted to try to give something that you don't have, or try to be someone else. But I think in acting is just, it's harder. It's funny because I know a lot of people think that, of course, we play characters that are not like ourselves, and we play other people. But at the end of the day, there's something that, for example, like Mary only has to offer and I don't, which is fine. So like now, mostly in the last couple of days, what I've been thinking and reflecting is just like, okay, I'm still in this process of finding what can Jimena give and not on any other actress can, which is something that it's funny because I felt that in college, thank God. Like, we were so like blessed to have the family we had, the acting fam. And for example, I never felt threatened by your talent because I knew that the characters that we would play wouldn't be the same ones for me. But because we didn't have like the same personality, so I never felt threatened by any of the actresses in our acting fam because I knew we had something different to offer. But now in the professional world, I kind of feel threatened by other actresses, and I found myself a lot comparing myself to them and be like, oh wow, like why what I don't have that they have, and like why are they rejecting me and they're not rejecting them. But like I'm really happy and hopeful to live in an era whenever we're more open to diversity, we're more open to things that come from other countries and stuff. So like that has given me like a lot of hope to what can Jimena give that not other actresses can. And it's not bad or anything. I think that it's something that has been talked a lot about it, mostly during these times, about representation and diversity. But honestly, like I'm really glad that I'm in this discovering process as well, because and it was something that I was like, I was applying for a scholarship too, and like trying to acting wise. And I just remember how like, I grew up and I love it. I wouldn't reject growing up watching Disney Channel or anything, I love those shows. But I remember how, like little Jimena felt threatened because she didn't look like the actresses, like I wasn't blonde. And for me, it was like something that I struggled with when I was little because I knew that I wanted to do that, but I knew that I might not look like them. So for me during this process, I've been like, well, like whatever I do, I want to teach little girls that they can dream and they can, be in stories that, they consume and think that they can be in those stories as well. So I think that has been one of the biggest discoveries for me, to not trying to force myself to be something that I'm not as an actress. Of course, be open in characters, maybe work on accents or I love that. But as well, be truthful to myself and know, it's still in process, but know that I can give something, and honestly, like, not take rejection as seriously as serious I was taking it. Because like, it's really, I don't know, it's just like, it's hard to think about rejection because you feel it personally, like they're rejecting you. But honestly, it's just like, it's, you never know what their standards are. You never know what's going on in their minds whenever they choose a person. So like, for me, that too is just like, okay, yes, they might choose her, but it's fine. It's not because I'm not pretty. It's not because I'm not enough. It's simply, this is what they think is going to work, and just go with it. So also not take something so subjective to roll my life. And to know that in my heart. So yeah.
And I'm like so excited to see what the future holds for you specifically, because you have like, especially like seeing like us being able to like grow together in school, like all of this untapped potential that you have, that place couldn't always honor all the time, like, and that used to be like such a frustrating thing for like me to see, because it's like, you have all this talent and like, this beauty and charisma and like, great attitude, and you're hardworking, and I was like, people are not like, why doesn't everyone see this? Like, why is this not apparent to everyone here? And I was like, I know that there's got to be, hope in the real world, that, she's going to be getting more and doing more, because she's being wasted here. Like, I was like, she's so talented, and like, why aren't people putting her in everything? But it's, and I think it's because I think where we went to school, a lot of people there also weren't ready for the changing world, and like, weren't open-minded. Like, I kind of love what's happening in California and, just the world right now, of like demanding diversity in our projects. It's like, I love that. And I feel like I'm in a place now where I was like, if I gotta play like racist white person, if I gotta play like the bad white person, I'm so down. I'm so with that. Like, I'm so happy to be able to do that, so that those people get like, their moment, their shine. Like, I think I've said it to you before, but like, if Spike Lee was like, I need you to play like a racist white person for this, movie, I'd be like, absolutely, what do you need? Like, I guess, like, if that is where I'm meant to help like elevate those voices, that is fine by me. I obviously don't believe in those things.
Hopefully you get other characters too.
Like, I obviously, like, we're obviously playing a character and stuff, but if that's something I'm able to do, to contribute to those voices, I have no issue. But yeah, and I think the world is changing, and I think that there is, hope that after we come out of this pandemic, that there are more opportunities that will present themselves for you and the right people that have been working hard through like this whole thing. So I'm always excited for you. I think you're a wonderful person. I think you're spectacular, and I love seeing you grow, and I love seeing you work, and like, I tell you all the time, but yes, you are a wonderful, and I'm so excited for everything that you do.
You too, no, same for you.
Do you have any like, say, final thoughts or any takeaways that someone can get? Like, if they fast forwarded to the end of this episode, bring us home. What should we take away?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's funny because I was, I know that in your period talk, we talk about other things besides periods. But I was also so ready to talk about periods. And I can't, no, just kidding. Like, it goes the same way we've been talking about everything. Just like really, not being afraid of like who you are as a person and getting to discover yourself and your craft and your talent and to see what you can give to the world. And honestly, like, you know, having not fear of rejection and, you know, like getting to, you know, like being open to being human. I think it's also like a huge takeaway for me too, of all we talking and like, or of our craft. And just real quick, just like trying to connect everything with, you know, period. But it's funny because yesterday, I was just, you know, scrolling, looking at Instagram, whatever. You know, I followed the Pat Project. And it's funny because I followed this influencer as well. Her name is Leah. And I love her style. She's like a different kind of fashionista. And like she posted this picture of like, you know, her wearing a white dress and it got all stained of blood. And she was like, oh, like the wonderful part of being a woman. And for me, that was like a huge thing that I loved. And I was like, whoa, like, you know, honestly, in this industry and world, we're so ashamed sometimes to be human and like being women and like who we are. So I think, like I said, it goes with the line, everything we have been saying so far. It's just like being, you know, open to life the way it is and not wanting to change or hide anything you have or you want. Of course, like, you know, we're humans. We have our mistakes, our downfalls. It's not like, oh, like embrace you and you're perfect. No, but in the sense of like, there are some things that you need to be okay with yourself. And especially as a woman, that really spoke to me. I was like, wow, like a lot of the times I was trying to, you know, and it's fine. It's not like you need to scream to the world whenever you're period that you're on your period and everyone needs to know, right? But in the sense of like what I've been talking about, I was trying to be someone else when it came to my craft and who I was in college. But now, you know, even seeing that picture or anything, I was like, no, like, you know, you can't hide who you really are at the end of the day. And mostly, like we said, in such a you know, particular craft like acting is, because you're your biggest asset as an actor. It's literally you, only you. And like we said, like, yes, you can play different roles. Yes, you can be somewhere, hopefully, you know, you find a character that's completely, you know, like completely different from you. But at the end of the day, whatever you give to that character is going to be you, given by you. So like the way you approach it, the way you approach this pandemic, the way you approach your rejection, the way you approach everything, it's going to be like who you are. And yeah, and also like not being afraid of creating your own work. I think that was a huge thing that we talked about. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you can handle honestly, so much rejection. Like, and it's not good to let yourself I was literally drowned in rejection a lot of the times. And for me, creating my own work was the kind of like the lifesaver of me and like, and yeah, and getting to know who you are. Honestly, I understood better monologues whenever I wrote my monologue, because the monologue was literally me trying to say something. So I was like, whoa, like this is what goes into a character's mind whenever they're talking. So like anytime that I now approach monologue is not so foreign to me because I'm trying to think like the character thinks, because I know how to think and I've been exploring how I think. So yeah, I think that's such a huge part. So yeah, I don't know if I went to like a lot of tangents and like and tried to like.
I love it. No, I think that was awesome. I loved that.
Yeah.
And we'll put it in the description of the episode, but if you could just sort of shout out how we find you on social media, how can we keep with your acting journey, etc.
Yeah, of course. So like let me say exactly. Well, you see it in the description too, but like my acting account is Faith Through Art. Like literally Faith Through Art. But I'll, you know, let you guys follow in the description to see like particular. And I mean, I have my other account, but right now I'm trying to push fade through art right now.
Cool. Cool.
So hopefully I can keep you guys updated and with fun projects, and maybe, you know, later on I'll open my YouTube account and see what comes from there. So we're excited to tell stories. So
yes.
Yeah.
Stoked. Oh, cool. Oh, well, thank you for doing this, love. Come back anytime. You have an open invitation to be like, hey, Mary, let me be on Tampa Talk to talk about my YouTube channel. I'll be like, girl, come on.
Yes, anytime. I have a lot of stories, so yes.
And that was Jimena. She's a doll. She's a dime, a beauty. You should follow her links in the description of this episode. You should also inquire about her acting coaching. You heard all of her credentials here, folks. You're in great hands. All the Jubilance information is in the description as well, so be PMS free in 2021. And the musical artists that we featured in this episode, their information is also in the description. So you should follow them and pick up some new music in 2021. But yeah, muchas gracias por escuchar este programa. Significa mucho para mí. Espero que sientes amor todos los días y todos los días. Siempre tienes un lugar aquí en Tampa Talk with Mary. Lo siento, mi español es horrible. Lo siento. But thank you so much, and we will see you next time on Tampa Talk with Mary.